thank you very much for coming out. As we have some people here, I'm going to probably give another 2 or 3 minutes to allow a few others of us to kind of show up and get connected. Thank you on behalf of the NPC and TESOL International. Well, it's always good to see all of these friendly faces that come out today. As is Saturday, it's on the weekend. It's very hard for us sometimes to find the ideal time and place for us to get together. But I think these webinars that we've been doing throughout the year, at least one a month, has allowed us to do many other types of things, has allowed us to connect with other associations. And once again, we have been able to continue with our professional development series that we have throughout the ANPC. As you know, the ANPC, our goal is to connect affiliates. Our goal is to, once again, continue to give you guys as affiliates, new ideas, strategies, best practices, and things of that nature related to how you can, once again, make your associations a lot better. Okay, a lot better. For that, we're going to get started here in a few minutes. And basically, our topic for today is going to be quite interesting. Our topic for today is quite interesting. And we're talking about strategies and tips for funding a TESOL association. As you know, there's so many different variables to go on to take place to run an association across borders, across regions, throughout towns, etc. And I think a topic like today's topic, in terms of, I should say, fundraising, looking for funding and resources, additional resources, I think it's a topic that all of us would be really would benefit from in that particular instance. I see some of us here, giving a couple of shout outs in the chat session. It's always good to see some of the names. I'm just going to read some of them out really fast. Dana, thank you so much for joining us from Ohio. Hope the weather's not too cold these days in that particular instance. We also have, there's Lynn, my co-partner in crime here in terms of the ANPC. And so there's Lynn, once again, coming to you from Pittsburgh, right, Lynn? Pittsburgh? That's right. And Michael, thank you for joining us from Japan. Awesome, buddy. It's been a while since I've been to Japan. Hopefully in the near future, I'll be able to get back over there again and living and interacting in Japan for a few years. Well, like I said, again, I would love to get back one of these days. Kesia, thank you so much joining us from East Africa, Tanzania. Super. And like I said, again, we got some others out there coming along. And well, I know there are others out there. I see some names on Ulrich. I haven't seen you in a while, so it's good to see you as well, my friend. Welcome from, I should say, from the beautiful country of Mexico. And I see there's Paul, there's Rachel, and a few others that are also joining us as well. So in keeping along with the time, as you know, time is of the essence. And these little sessions that we have, they usually last for about 60 minutes. The way we have it organized for today is, I think Ivonne is going to share some ideas with us related to, I should say, funding and raising funds and things of that nature for our associations. There's going to be a lot of time for questions. I think Ivonne is going to allow questions to come as they pop up, as they arise. That way we don't have to wait until the end for you to think about it. So as the questions arise and they pop up, you can once again put them in the chat box. I'll be more than happy, or Lynn and myself, to address them. But at the same token, I would be more than happy to, I should say, slightly interrupt Ivonne so we can once again try to address those questions as well, keeping along with the time. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and just briefly introduce our speaker for today. And it's with pleasure to introduce Ivonne Gonzalez. She's the General Director of the International Center of Foreign Languages and Cultures at University of Savannah, located in Colombia. She's the founder and president of TESOL Colombia, and she's also created an online networking platform for English teachers called TESOL Latam, which supports teachers' collaboration throughout the Latin American region. With more than 20 years of experience in ELT, Ivonne has developed educational projects on the use of, I should say, virtual reality and English language teaching, teacher training, CLIL, content and language integrated learning, collaboration, the use of EdTech, innovation and transformation in education as well. Her main interests are innovation, EdTech, international collaboration, as well as materials creation. How can we actually best describe Ivonne? And if I would put it into maybe 4 short sentences, she's passionate about education. She's a follower of new trends and innovation. She's always thinking about new projects. I can attest to that. And she's an advocate for collaboration in education. So without further ado, the ANPC as well as TESOL International would love to welcome you, Ivonne, and thank you very much for accepting our invitation. The floor is yours, all yours. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for joining us in this session. I am more than glad to collaborate and share with you my experience and some ideas that I have for funding a TESOL association. Okay, let's start. Always in my presentations, I like to start with a reflection. I tend to take quotes from books that I recently read. And this is one from Adam Grant, the last book I read, Think Again. And this is something I really find very interesting. And I always keep that sentence in my mind. And it is that there is a risk in best practices. It is that once we declare a routine the best, it becomes frozen in time. So although I am going to share with you our best practices of TESOL Colombia, please think again. I mean, never stop thinking and never stop finding innovation and finding ways of doing things in a new way. Okay, let's start with the presentation. So we're going to cover very fast 10 topics, not topics, but I mean, our content will be divided in 10, in 10 things that I want to make emphasis on. The first one will be about the budget. I mean, what to take into account when you're thinking about the budget to start deciding how to raise money to cover it. The next topic will be the internal and external funding options, then the stakeholders, the value you will offer them or that you can offer them, the purpose of your association. Then I will have a short video. It is like 4.5 minutes with some tips for raising money to have your convention. And then the timeline for planning, and finally the summary and a conclusion, another reflection. Okay, let's start with this. So the first thing when you think about how to get money to run your association, it starts with how much money it costs. I mean, you have to start with not how much money you need, because if you don't know how much are the expenses, you don't know how much money you need. So we have to make the analysis and the list of fixed and variable expenses to know exactly how much the association costs and how much it costs to implement and organize the convention or the activities that you want to implement. And then with that in mind, and when you decide what other projects you want to implement, again, make a list of the expenses to see how much they cost. So why is this important? This is important because when you want to make a budget, you have to start with that. I know that I am going the opposite way because normally you start with the incomes, but in this case, we have to start with the expenses. So we have to go the opposite way. So we have to start finding how much it costs. And then with that, we can kind of forecast the income. Now, when in this forecasting, we have to check if it is possible, if it is feasible to get that amount of money. If not, we have to make adjustments to reduce the expenses. So after making those adjustments, we will have the final numbers. And with those numbers, now we can think about the best ways to get the necessary income to cover them. Okay, now internal and external funding. So now we know how much money we need and we have to decide on, okay, how are we going to get that money? And we have two options. We have the internal funding, that means the efforts that come from within the association. And when you think about the external funding, you have to think about the value that you can offer, that you can give the outsiders of the association. And when we analyze those two parts, we have to take a decision on how much we want to give to external funding and internal funding. because that will help us make the decision on what to focus on and what strategies to implement. Okay, when we talk about internal funding, we have the options of the registration fees when we organize the event, the convention, the courses, seminars, webinars, workshops, etc., that we can charge attendees for, the marketing options, promotion, ads. And when we think about ads and promotion, we have to see if our web page or the journals that we have can provide people with spots that they would like to use to make promotion of all the resources or all the things that they can sell through the association or to the people that are involved in our association. And when we think about the value for the outsiders, we are talking about the corporate sponsorship, even TESOL International, as it gives all the associations the opportunity for one speaker in the convention. I mean, that's part of the sponsorship, and the academic institutions that can give us some support. In our case, in TESOL Colombia, our main sponsor is an academic institution, is Universidad de la Sabana. I mean, they cover all the expenses that we have in our association, so we can focus on how to make a little bit more money to implement other activities for the affiliates, so we can offer them teacher training and things like that. So it is great when you get to that point that your association is so valuable that an institution wants to give you full support. Okay. With that in mind, now we can think about the stakeholders. So the stakeholders are so important for all the associations, the TESOL associations. Why? Because they are the main reason why we're doing what we're doing. So make a list of all the stakeholders that you can identify for your association. Here you have a list of some examples like the teachers, professors, researchers, schools, universities, the directors, principals, publishers, bookstores, etc. And why is that so important? Because when you have a very clear view of your stakeholders, you can make the analysis of what is really valuable for them. So from the list that you make, you have to take decisions on which ones are the most important for you, because it is very difficult to work for all of them. So make the list of stakeholders, but find 2, 3, 4, 5 that are the most relevant for your association, and then make the analysis of what is really valuable for them. Why? Because when you make that analysis, you have to come up with the list of what is that they expect your association to offer them, to give them. Because we have to give them something they really value. So for example, when you're talking about researchers or professors, they are really interested in the book of proceedings because they want to see their papers, their presentations in a book. I mean, in a digital book, but anyway, they want to see that as like a product of their work. If you think about, for example, publishers, they want to focus on visibility, and they want to have possibilities of product demonstration, and they want to get in touch, direct touch with potential customers. For speakers, some of them, I mean, this is funny, I know it sounds funny, but it is true. Some of them, they want to show off. So they want to go and present at conventions and seminars that can provide them with that option of showing what they do and how well they speak and how great they are at their work. So you have to provide them with opportunities to do so. And of course, for the attendees, the TESOL conventions is the opportunity to keep up to date with information about TESOL and all the work that we do. Okay, so after you know your stakeholders and what is valuable for them, you have to think about the purpose of your association. Why? Because it has to be aligned. The purpose of the association with the stakeholders and what they want and what you're going to give them. So what is the purpose? Is it TESOL advocacy? Is it just organizing a yearly convention? Is it teacher training? Is it promoting research? What is your purpose? And when you really identify the main purpose of your association, you can align it with stakeholders and the strategies that you are going to implement to attract your stakeholders. Because when you attract stakeholders, it means that you're going to get some income because they pay for the things they find valuable. If you give them the solution to what they need, they will pay for that. Okay, good. So when we have our associations, one of the biggest opportunity to make some incomes, to give some money to the association to assure it can continue running is the convention or the event that we organize every year, in most cases every year. So I found this short video, it is only like 4.5 minutes, that gives tips on what to take into account when you organize your event to get support, to get some sponsors to help you with that event. So let me play it.
Thinking about putting on an event for your organization, but need some help with those expenses? I'll show you how to get corporate sponsorship for your event in 3 easy steps. One of the best ways to promote SMART and market your business to the masses is by hosting an event. Grand openings, open houses, award ceremonies, banquets, luncheons, workshops, and fundraisers are all great ways to get potential customers through your doors and network with other businesses. Even so, the price tag to put on your own successful event can be daunting. To combat this, you might think to obtain sponsorship to offset your costs. But how do you get a company to sponsor your event? Step number 1 is to position your event to be attractive to a certain type of sponsor. This step requires honesty on your part. A sponsor isn't going to give you money just because you're a nonprofit organization or you think your event will help the community. Ask yourself how your event compares to other events in town. What do you offer that is unique and different? Pinpoint a match between a corporate sponsor and your event. Learn about the company from which you're requesting sponsorship so you know whether or not the company is likely to participate. Your sponsors need to complement the program so that there's a cohesiveness and the overall goal of the event is achieved. If you're putting on a family-friendly event, you might consider companies that give to children's charities. If your event brings about hunger awareness, you might consider companies that are in the food industry or have similar interests. Step number 2 is to create a sponsorship proposal. It should be concise and show the sponsor why your event is a good fit and beneficial for the company. Include a fact sheet about your event that includes your theme, the specifics on sponsorship options, including pricing, and pertinent event logistics, such as booth placement for your sponsors, methods of advertising and promotion for the event, and overall all of the places that the corporate sponsor's logo will be used in conjunction with the event. Walk through your venue where you'll be holding the event and identify all the potential places that a sponsor might advertise their brand name and logo. Typical places are banners over entrances, signs visible by passing traffic, backs of spectator seats, booths on the site, paper programs, t-shirts, etc. In addition to logo placement, identify other opportunities for your sponsor to meet their marketing needs. These might be opportunities to meet celebrities, access to exclusive areas like backstage passes, places where they can distribute product samples, or even take orders. Show the sponsor what is in it for them. Now, before sending off the initial query, research prospective companies that you think might be interested in sponsoring your event. You can research these through government directories, company websites, advertising directories, and the local media. Now, once you have a list of potential sponsors, make sure to call each company and find out who is responsible for buying sponsorship. You want the person that works with integrated marketing or public relations within the company. Now, this brings us to step number 3. Make sure to email or send a letter first and then follow up with a phone call to prospective companies. In your initial communication, make sure to introduce yourself and include a company bio. After the introduction, you can go into the program that you're contacting them about. Make sure to request a meeting. Even after you submit a proposal, one of the best ways to win over your potential sponsor is to meet them in person. Take the time to go over what you're proposing and give your sponsor details about your event. Find out what the company is looking for when they consider sponsoring an opportunity. Ask if they want lots of media attention, for example, or a place where they can take clients, or access to a specific group of people or target market. Your follow-up attempts should be continuous with this company until you get a response. Without it, you don't know whether or not your request has actually been considered. Obtaining corporate sponsorship for your event is not impossible. Many local businesses are giving and getting corporate sponsorship because when done correctly, both organizations benefit greatly. For more information about obtaining corporate sponsorship for your event, visit my blog on leapgraphics.com. And remember, it's your business, why not take a leap?
Okay, so as she mentioned in the video, that's exactly what we do at TESOL Colombia. With the previous steps that I mentioned, so analyzing who our stakeholders are, what they want, I make a plan on how to approach them and what to offer them. Because when you do the analysis and you know exactly what the publishers want, you can offer them that and you can organize activities to do that. Okay, there's a question, Jermaine?
Sure. In the chat box, Lynn actually started a mini conversation, and basically she's asking about, apart from the annual conventions, what other events do you organize that have outside sponsorship? And this was a question for all the participants. So I don't know, Ivonne, if you can maybe start with you and maybe we can continue with the conversation just a little more. We have a couple of options in the chat box, but like I said, again, before you move on to the next topic, she just wanted to, actually get some ideas about that.
Okay, so the question is activities that we organize.
What other events do you organize in order to have
Okay.
outside sponsorship? What other things are you doing? And so some of the participants are actually typing some things out there in the chat box right now. And so
great.
here, for example, sponsorship for workshops and monthly webinars and etc. So I'm not sure if you want to add or collaborate there.
Okay, so let me give you like the list of activities and different events that we organize that help us, provide us with some funding for TESOL Colombia. For example, workshops. Teachers look for teacher training. They like to be updated. To have like the last information on many things and to get tips and strategies to do their work. So you can organize workshops, seminars, and you can charge for the participation there. Another activity that we do is that we have within TESOL Colombia, the convention, we have the awards, TESOL Colombia Awards. We launched that last year and we are going to continue doing that. So the awards get the attention of the institutions and teachers who want to participate and show their projects that they are implementing. And it helps getting more people to the event, to the convention. So it means more registration fees. And as we have sponsors for the awards, we get some money from publishers and other companies related to ELT that gives us money or pay for certain things that we offer through the TESOL Colombia Awards. Another example would be certifications. I mean, if you have a really good positioned association and your certification is valuable in the ELT market, in schools, I mean, and institutions, you can have like a teacher training portfolio, and the certification that you give as the association to the participants will be something valuable that they will pay for. So those are like 3 examples that I can give you now. I don't know, Jermaine, if attendees have written something else in the chat that we can share with the rest of the participants.
No, just Deanna. Yeah, Deanna Weber. She wrote that they have sponsorship for workshops, like you had mentioned, and also monthly webinars as well. So that's what Dana Weber said. Yeah. Okay.
There's another option, like another tip that I can give you, and it is, I mean, related to how well positioned is your association and how organized is your website, your web page. If you have a great web page, and even if you have a journal or a sort of publication, you can charge for having a spot in the website. So for example, I mean, you can have like the spots for ads and you can sell that. So, but for doing so, you need to have a lot of people visiting the web page and a really nice web page with a nice layout. When you reach that point of being interesting for example, publishers, you can tell them, okay, if you want to be in my website, in my web page, you can pay us this amount and you will be there for a month, 2 months, whatever. So that is another option. Okay, let me know if I can.
Yeah, go ahead. No, continue.
Continue.
Yeah, you can
okay,
go. You can
great.
go for it. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so and I love when people ask questions, and this was like the exact moment to make those questions, because I mean it is like aligned with the next slide. The next slide is about tips, like quick ways of generating income. And as you can see in my slide, of course, the registration fee is like the easiest and fastest way to get some money, because you charge attendees and also speakers. We took that decision so like 4 or 5 years ago, that we were going to charge speakers too. The only speakers we don't charge with the registration fee are the keynotes that we invite. But the rest of the people that want to present their work, they want to share their insights or research outcomes, etc., they have to pay a registration fee. Of course, it has a discount price, but they pay. That makes a change, believe me, because when you see the programs, you see that you have many speakers. And if you're not going to charge them, you're losing the opportunity to make some money to help the association continue running. Okay, the next one is what I talked about a few minutes ago, charge for all possibilities of visibility. So the sponsors like the people to see them, so charge them for the giveaway items, for posters that they can post in the event, for videos that you can show between or before or after the presentations. You can charge for the different activities that you organize during the event or previously, or before the event. And the sponsors are willing to pay for that because they know that it is a good way for them to be in touch with the possible customers that they will have. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And the next one is about planning. And this one is about timeline. So you have to think about what activities you want to do and when. So take the year, as I did in those 2 slides, and be sure that you have month by month what activities you want to organize or you are going to deliver, and plan how many weeks in advance you have to do something for that activity. Because, fundraising is not something that you can improvise, and it is nothing that you can do like 1 week ahead or of the event or in just a few days. It takes time, it takes planning, because first, again, you have to make the list of the stakeholders, you have to know what they want. When you know what they want, you have to make the list of, okay, what activities I am going to implement to give them what they want. When will I do that? So it means that it needs planning. So make a timeline and know exactly when you are going to launch a promotion campaign, when you are going to, upload more information with the website, when you are going to contact stakeholders and sponsors, when you're going to send letters, etc. Because everything has to be planned and has to be carefully prepared. So nothing comes as the result of improvisation. You have to plan in advance. Good. So if we want to make a summary of what we have presented so far, we have this. First, plan your budget. Be careful to make a list of the expenses, the real ones that you need to run your association. Add to the list of expenses all the activities, the cost of the activities that you want to implement and all the projects that you want to run. With that in mind, then you can create the budget and you will know exactly how much money you need. When you know how much money you need, then look at the stakeholders, analyze them, and plan how much you want to get from internal efforts and how much you want to get from external sponsors. So with that in balance, you will know how to plan the activities and the most important thing, the strategies to implement those activities and to approach the sponsors. Okay, next, number 2, define what is valuable for the stakeholders. Again, I will repeat that again and again, because some people, I've found people that think that just because you're a TESOL association, just because people know it, you don't have to think about how to get the attention of attendees or stakeholders anymore. No, you have to think every year, what people want to get when they go to the convention or when they approach your TESOL association. So you need to know what is the solution that you're going to provide them with, so they are willing to pay for that solution. So again, analyze the stakeholders, what is valuable for them, and what you can offer them. Now, very important, never lose your focus. You have something that you want your association to focus on. That's your vision of your association and that's your mission of your association. So you have to align what people want with what the association is focused on. Because if you lose that, you will lose track. So everything must be aligned. Okay. So number 3, offer them, each stakeholders, attendees, publishers, the government, academic institutions, etc., offer them what they want and implement quick ways to generate income. Why? Because you need to have some cash flow to be able to run any activity. So you have to be sure that in that timeline, in that planning that I talked about, you include activities that will give you cash fast. That way you will always have a cash flow and you will have some money to implement a workshop, to invite people for a networking activity, to have lunch, whatever. You need to plan that in advance. Number four is plan these strategies and define the timeline as I mentioned. So when you have your plan, you have to make the list of the strategies, and the strategies become tactics. Tactics means the tasks. I mean, the specific tasks that you will implement to reach that strategy. And that means that that strategy will aim your objectives. So you have to be that careful to go from big to small. I mean, from the big idea and the objectives to the strategies, the list of the strategies, and each strategy will become a set of activities or tasks. Do not improvise. It doesn't work. In raising money, improvising doesn't help. So everything must be planned. Believe me, every letter that you send has to be planned, because you need to include the key words, the key message in that letter. It's not like one size fits all, like one letter for all sponsors. No, one is the message for publishers. Another one is the message for academic institutions. There must be another message for attendees. So plan even your letters, plan your social media posts. It has to be targeted. I mean, not every message goes to everybody. So if you want to get the attention from attendees, be careful what you post on social media for them. If you want to get the attention of publishers, be sure you have the correct message for them. Number 6, align all these strategies with the purpose of your association. Very, very important. If not, you are going to lose your track. You are going to end up doing something else that was not the plan for your association. I mean, when you created your TESOL Association, you were thinking of helping teachers or having teacher training or just organizing the yearly convention. Whatever your aim was, keep on that. And then from that, plan the rest of the things. And finally, for that list, don't forget, this is very, very important. Collect all the possible data. Why? Because only when you know what has happened in the previous conventions, how many attendees you have had, who they are, where they come from, what countries they visit you from, who your sponsors are, etc., you will be able to set the correct messages for your website, for social media, etc. So data is gold nowadays. It is the only way to make good decisions. So collect all the data and know your customers, know your attendees, who they are, where they work, how old they are, what they want. Exactly the same thing with the rest of the stakeholders. And data from previous events and from all the years that you have been running will give you the answers to those questions and will help you define the strategies to continue running your association. And as a conclusion, I always like to reflect again. And as I mentioned at the beginning with Adam Grant's quote, in this one, I want you to think about how you can think out of the box. Never stop thinking and never stop changing things. You have to keep creating new strategies and innovating. Remember what Adam Grant says, it's very risky when you have a best practice in your mind and you stop thinking. So never stop thinking, and don't stop being creative to evolve. And when you can do that, I assure you that your association will continue running for many years. So thank you so much. And I am open for questions. So I would love to have like a debate and some conversation at this point. Thank you so much.
No, thank you very much, Yvonne. Very enlightening, lots of ideas and lots of other things going on, aside from traditional day-to-day activities where we try to generate revenue. I'm not sure if we have any other additional questions. I have some questions here. I have some, but I'm going to see if we have some others in the chat box before I start talking. And I see that, let's see. So Lynn has some other questions as well to kind of to start the conversation. Organizations often allow ads on their websites. Do you also build a visibility on social media and allow ads there too? And she says, well, she's asking this because there are some student groups do such a great job of getting followers as well as sponsorships from their social media accounts, etc. So what do you think about that? Some just to start our conversation.
Yes, and social media is so important. I mean, there's no way to exist nowadays without social media, whether you like it or not. We need Instagram, we need Facebook, we need Twitter, etc. to reach people, to get our message running. So it is so important to plan how you are going to work on social media and what are the messages that you want to post. I mean, you need to have some keywords, like some key ideas, and they have to be targeted. And it has to be planned. Again, improvising doesn't help. So you have to think about who goes to Instagram, for example. What type of things you would have to post in Instagram to be effective? What type of sentences to write for Facebook? If you're going to add videos to that or just pictures. I mean, you have to plan that, and it is a great way to have this word to mouth and all the information of your association running. One other thing that you have to take advantage of is not only how you use the social media, but your attendees, your sponsors, and your stakeholders. Because when you post something they really like, they share it. So, or you can even have like a contest of who posts the best picture of the event, and you will have a lot of posts in Facebook and Instagram running through that contest. So it is a good way to make things moving. So take advantage of social media, but in a planned way.
Okay, thank you so much. Just as another, just to add a little bit more to the conversation, as you know, fundraising is not an easy task, and not every one of us has the same, that profile, I should say, in order to go forward and think outside the box, and I should say, try to acquire some of those things. What are some of the challenges, maybe one or two challenges you have come across in terms of trying to acquire funding? And what are some of those simple things that you did in order to, overcome those obstacles along the way?
Okay, one of the biggest challenges is to provide value to the stakeholder that you want to approach. So is to organize things in a way that your association grows and offers people something they really value. Why? Because, for example, a publisher, they want to see a lot of attendees because they like volume. I mean, they want to see 300, 400, 500, 1,000 attendees in the event. So if you don't do that, if you don't reach the numbers they expect, they won't support you much. I mean, they can be the sponsors 1 year, but not the next year. So the biggest challenge is how to, first identify valuable things people want to pay for. Second, reach the point that they find it really valuable and they want to pay for that. And then to continue being valuable for them. Because you can do that 1 year, but if you stop working, it goes down, and next year, nobody will see the value, nobody will find it, nobody will pay for it. So it is challenging to keep raising the bar and to keep having something to give the rest of the people that are part of your association. I think that is the biggest challenge.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your insights. Do we have any other questions or comments? Or maybe not, besides from questions or comments, I would love to hear what some of the other associations actually are doing in terms of a fundraising. I know Donna had mentioned some things a few minutes ago, but it would be great if you maybe stick it in the chat box, or if you want, you can activate your cameras and your microphones so we can interact a little bit and get some ideas about what are you doing in other parts of the world, because this is one initiative that we're seeing here for the most part in South America and Latin America. However, you know, there are other countries where we have other ways or opportunities in order to gain access, I should say, to funding. You know, for example, maybe applying for grants. I know there are grants that are available that, you know, you're able to acquire, you know, those funds in order to actually do much more. And like I think Ivonne had mentioned before, you know, what is the target? Is it professional development, teacher training? So we would target those types of organizations that, you know, we can provide them with value. So if I have 1,000 teachers sitting down, you know, at my convention once a year, and I have maybe many other, I should say, members that I am, you know, constantly involved in, how can I connect all of those dots together in order to provide value for those other individuals? Ivonne mentioned just briefly about, you know, having the awards ceremonies, the awards, and the awards are great opportunities because, you know, once again, it not only, I should say, organizes, and not only, I should say, awards, or I should say, rewards, I should say, some of the institutions that are working with us, but their teachers as well. Some of the other companies that are doing things in order to, I should say, advocate for bilingualism or multilingualism in the different parts of the world or the region. And once again, having that, you know, say, hey, my school is the best of whatever, having my teacher being the best of, and having maybe some initiatives, you know, very grassroots, very small scale initiatives to actually make a difference. You know, there are lots of sponsors out there, and these are things that come from thinking outside of the box. Trying to do something else in order to move. For example, I don't know, we're having sponsors for spelling bees, you know, having sponsors for spelling bees where, you know, there's an annual, there's a biannual, etc. spelling bee or something of those natures in order to work around. We talk about professional development. There are scholarships that are given, but can we connect the dots to provide additional scholarships for teachers, for professionals, in order to continue to do other things as well? So like I said, again, there are many different things going on out there. I would love to, you know, continue the debate. And I would love for us to continue to debate on My TESOL, like Lynn is saying here. You know, My TESOL, for the most part, is the organization base that we use within TESOL International, so that these ideas and these initiatives, they just don't get caught up in the, I should say what, a webinar or a chat session. But these are spaces that, you know, organized by the organization so that we can actually do more, so that we can continue with the conversation and we can add on to what you're just telling us today. So I'm not sure if there's something else. I don't know if you can maybe microphone for a second, Ivonne. Yeah, go
Two
ahead.
more things to add that I didn't mention, but it is important for our participants to know about or to keep in mind is that one of the things that you have to really take care of is the academic quality of the activities that you organize. Because if you assure people that presentations are high quality, speakers are great, they will continue coming and more attendees will come to the events or will participate in the workshops, etc. So be sure the academic quality is top. This is one thing. And the other one is that when we think about teachers from the public sector, they like certificates. I mean, it's not that they need certifications because they have to show in public schools that they are getting some training and they are getting certifications for that. So if you have a portfolio of courses, seminars, webinars, workshops, etc., that can give people certifications, you will have the attention of teachers from the public sector to join your workshops, etc. So it helps moving things.
No, thank you so much. And so I would also invite each and every one of you to once again fill out the feedback form for the webinar. These are opportunities for us in order to improve and also get some ideas about what you would like to hear in the future in that particular instance. The insights today, with Ivonne, just like I said, again, just starting the conversation about funding. I know we're coming towards the end of the year, and it was a challenge to get most of you guys here today. So thank you very much for joining us on a Saturday afternoon, a Saturday evening, or even a Saturday night, wherever you may be. And so, like I said, again, this is interesting because, here at the ANPC, we look for opportunities and ways for us to get together and to come up with new ideas and new ways in which we can support each other. Today's talk was once again very enlightening, very enlightening, so that we can actually move on and do some other things as well. But if there's nothing else, I'm not sure if there's something else you would like to add, Lynn or Yvonne, before we would kind of close up the session for today, because I just have a couple of shout outs in the chat box, especially Ulrich, giving you a couple of shout outs, Yvonne. And so, like I said, again, well, I'm not sure if there's something else, Lynn, that you want to add or take away before we.
No, I just want to thank everybody that participated today. And I want to say hi to Uli. I just saw that he is here. So thank you, Uli, for being here. And thank you, everyone. And thank you, TESOL International, for inviting me to this activity.
All right, I would have loved to maybe try and get a selfie with all of us here together on the screen. I don't know if that's possible. Yeah. What do you think? If we can, I don't know if you guys are up for it. Maybe we can activate the cameras and between Lynn and myself, we'll take a couple of shots, to post on social media. That would be great. To have some memories of today. That would be great.
Hello.
Gotcha. So let me know when you guys are ready. If I get a couple more cameras, that would be great. If not, the four of us smiles. There's Pedro. Good to see you again, my friend.
Pedro. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for very nice presentation.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
You're welcome, please.
Gotcha. So
Thank
I think
you, guys.
So let's go. I'm gonna go ahead and take a snapshot really fast. I guess that's 1, 2, and I got one here. Let's try another one.
So big smile.
Okay. All right. There's
Uli,
Uli. There's Uli. Long time no see, buddy.
Look, exactly. Long time I don't see you, Uli.
Yeah, another ANPC member from the past. Awesome, Uli. Good to have you on board. Okay.
Our youngest
So
TESOLer, she can be in the picture too.
Yes, Lynn's Okay. So I think it's good. I've been able to take a couple of snapshots. Thank you very much for being here. If there's nothing else, we're going to go ahead and bring some closure to this particular, I should say, George, good to see you again, my friend. And so, yeah, you guys take care. Thank you very much. And we're going to officially close the webinar for today. Have a great weekend and happy holidays to each and every one of you, wherever you may be.
Thank you, Yvonne. I'm sorry I have some noise from the room, but thank you very much. It was great. And we will share the recording. Thanks for your time. Thanks, Jermaine, for organizing.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.